Hello, friends. So I have great news. I finally found a bank for a business checking account. It was harder than I thought it would be. Last time I updated you about the bank account, I was looking into US Bank. They didn't respond back to me. I mean, they never got back about my application. I did talk to them. I just felt like this is bad customer service if they aren't even going to respond to the application. Like, not an email, not a call, nothing. So they were saying that I needed to call them back, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to be bothered with them if this is the kind of service that I'm going to get. So then I tried Bank of America because I did find some Bank of America branches still in the Toledo area. So I thought, you know what? I'll go with Bank of America. So I fill out the application and everything seems to be going fine. But then I get an email that says I need to call in and clarify some information. Not, weird because I'm like, okay, yeah, I filled it out online, so sure. They need me to call in and clarify something. No problem. So I call in, and when I call in, I get a representative who's like a little cagey, kind of like I tell her why I'm calling. She's like, "Oh yeah." So then she has me verify all my personal information, the name of our LLC, things like that. And after that, she says, "Yeah, we just needed you to call in to verify some information." And I said, "Okay, what do you need me to verify? Is that it? Do you need me to verify something else?" And she says, "We can't verify your personal information. We were able to find all your business information, but not your personal." So I said, "Okay, well, how do we fix it?" And she told me that I needed to go into a branch with two pieces of identification. Now, I live about an hour away from there are like two Bank of Americas, maybe three in Utah, period. And I live about an hour away from the closest one. And at this point, gas is $4.50 a gallon. I am not driving down the Salt Lake to show two pieces of identification in 2022 when everyone else that needs identification from me has been able to take it through email. So I tell the lady, I said, "Hey, I can take the picture of front and back of my license, passport. I mean, what do you want? So security card, whatever. I can send that to you. Or if you have like a system where I can upload it, I'd be happy to do that. Can I do it on the application somewhere? Things like that." I'm asking all these questions. And she's like, "No, you have to go in person." And this boggles my mind because I have lived at the same place since 2017, which is the same year that I got married, I changed my name. So I don't understand what could be off about my personal information. The only thing I can think is maybe they're not as used to Utah addresses because they're like coordinates. So, like, my address is present in several different cities because that's how they do things here. Like, you might have a 50th South, 90th West, and, a bunch of towns across the state. And that's the address. It's just a different town. So I don't know if that was a problem, but even so, it would be easy to figure out where I live, who I am, and verify if you saw my license. So I just tell her, if that's the only way that I can do it, forget it. I'm not coming to the branch. And she was like, "Well, that's all that we can do. We can't help you otherwise." And I said, "Well, then no problem. I'll find another bank." So after I get off the phone with her, I'm like, I'm mad now because this should be relatively easy. I mean, I get it. You're online. They have to, really look out for fraud and things like that. And I respect that. I'm glad that they're doing it. But this is 2022. These older banks need to get with the program. People are doing things online. Wake up, do it. I mean, like, I have been in the credit union where we bank one time in the past like 3 years. And we were there when we were closing on the houses. We needed to wire the down payments, and it was no problem. But while we were there, we were in line and it took about 45 minutes. Why? Because there was one guy at the window who was getting a bunch of pennies changed into dollars. Okay. So that takes a while. And then we also have another guy, there were two tellers. So the second teller is dealing with a guy who's basically demanding that she predict what the interest rates are going to be before he, you know, signs up for another month of a CD. And he's going back and forth, and she's kind of like telling him, like, well, I don't know. You know, what do you want to do here? And we're in line. And one of the reasons I don't like going to the bank inside is because, how can I put this? So there are people who are retired and have like a little bit more time to spend at the bank, and they don't mind taking a lot of time with a teller, going through all types of things, trying to get predictions on interest rates. I mean, all types of things that just are not possible. So I don't want to be in the bank standing behind those people waiting when I could be doing something else. I need to have access to a bank that allows me to do things online. If it's going to be really difficult for me to even fill out an application and get the account started online, then I know that there'll be other difficulties, probably with your website and things like that and transactions. So no. So I ended up looking up and reading about some different fintech businesses that have banking accounts and things like that. And I found one called Bluevine. I did watch some YouTube videos that kind of, you know, a few of them not so great reviews, but then others said that they were pretty good. I know that, you know, it's not a super old bank. It's only been around, I think, since like 2011, I think, or 13, one of them. I can't remember exactly, but it has a business checking account. If you keep a certain amount in there, it meets some stipulations, you can earn 1.2% interest, which is great, you know. Unlimited transactions, no monthly fees, FDI insured, you know, like, great. I'm willing to give it a shot. Right now, I just want the account so that I can pay bills for the rentals out of there and also receive the rent. That's all I want to do with this account. So it's very simple. And as our businesses grow, we probably will need to move on to a bigger bank, and that's totally fine. But right now, I just want to get it started because the mortgages for the two houses they're due May 1st, and I want to get this account going so I can pay it out of there because I need to keep everything separate. Like, I don't want to be paying out of my personal account because I need it to be separate. And things are just, they're due, you know, the gas bill, you know, things like that. They're due. And I have been paying them on my credit card that I used for business, but I really want to be paying it out of this account. So that's why I just decided I'm going to go with Bluevine. I'll try it out. And when we go to the Midwest in July, I will probably go into maybe a credit union or something in Ohio and just check it out, see if maybe there's like a slightly more accessible credit union or bank that we can use in that area for our Ohio LLC. But right now, I'm just going to go with Bluevine, and I'll keep you posted on how it works out. If anybody has used Bluevine, we're using it right now, good or bad, I'd love to hear something about it in the comments. Like I said, I looked it up. Some people had good things to say. Some people were like, no, it was terrible. But I did notice the one review that was really bad, the guys, they had a lot of money in there, and it was coming from their servicer and all this stuff, and it sounded like their money was frozen because of what, you know, fraud. They thought that it was a fraudulent transaction, things like that. So while that is inconvenient and terrible, I don't want to get too mad at banks when they are checking for fraud, because that is something that I've experienced with Chase Bank, and they were terrible about it. And I ended up paying for all of that. So when banks are really trying to catch fraud, I don't want to be too critical of them. So that was the major bad review. Their money was frozen and they didn't have access to it for about 7 days, which is terrible. But I'd rather hear that than, like, you know, something happened where they lost a bunch of money or the bank did something shady. So I'm going to give it a try, see how it works out. And if things are going well, then maybe we'll just stick with it. If not, if we have some trouble, then in July, we'll check out some banks in Ohio. So that is all for now. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.